All right, today in this investigation, we're going to look at nonlinear functions. So nonlinear, more specifically for this case, is going to be quadratic. All right, so this says pumpkin launching. There are competitions where teams compete to see who can launch their pumpkin the furthest. Yes, that is a very real thing. All right, so it says a sample of the data from one pumpkin launch is shown in the table and graph below. Answer the questions. Okay, so let's first of all look at this. So this is written a little bit differently than what you saw in our last chapter. In our last chapter, you always saw f of x. This says f of t because if you look at our x-axis, which is right here, it's measured in time. So this t really just stands for time. And then our y-axis is measured in height. So that's talking about how high the pumpkin is. Okay, so question 1 says evaluate f of 3. So remember, this is usually an x value, but we're not talking about x's right now. We're talking about t's. So this is a t value. So it's saying when your time is at 3 seconds, how high is your pumpkin? So you go over, here's 2 seconds. So these are going up. So that's 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. So here's 3 seconds. Go up to your graph, and it wants to know how high is your pumpkin. So I'm not going to write in the answers, but I'm basically showing you what the answers are for that one. The next one says, explain the meaning of f of 3 in context of the pumpkin launch. So now it's saying, so I'm going to have you fill in the blank. At 3 seconds, the pumpkin is, I think it's measured in feet, is blank feet high. So go ahead and fill in that blank. So now another way you could do this is instead of looking at your graph, you could actually look at your table. So this says your t value. So if you go to t and you figure out where, so this is 1 or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. So this is asking you at 3 seconds, what is your y value? So you can figure it out that way as well. This on your paper says x, that was a typo, it should be t. So this says find t when f of t equals 0. So you can go to your graph. So f of t, remember this is just y. So this is when y equals 0. So if I go here, go to your graph. So if I go this way, I will end up here. This answer doesn't make sense because if your x-axis is talking about time, this would be negative time, which doesn't make sense. So you do not have to look at anything on this side of the y-axis. So go along your graph. Oh, well, it's right here, and that's at how many seconds? That is what number 4 is asking you. So this is saying, I'm going to have you fill in the blanks again. So at blank seconds, the pumpkin is how high? Is blank. And if you notice, well, where is it? It's on the ground. So after blank seconds, your pumpkin is on the ground. The next one says find t when f of t is 71. So this is just your y value. So you can either go to your table, find when f of t is 71, or you can go to your graph where it's 71. So here's 60, here's 70, here's 71. It looks like it's about here. So you fill in these blanks. So when, or the pumpkin is 71 feet high at blank seconds. So you can fill that in. Okay, and then the last one says explain the meaning of t is about 0.5 or t is about 3. That's what this means. This just means about. It's not quite equal. When f of t is 40. So this is your y value. So you go up to 40. So here's 40. And then if you go across, this is about a half a second, and this is at about 3. So it's asking you explain the meaning. So the meaning, again, fill in the blanks. The pumpkin is 40 feet high. And I'm going to let you fill in the rest of that. All right, page 2. All right, this one says standard form of a quadratic function is this. And we actually just wrote that on our vocab sheet the other day. So the function in the pumpkin launcher problem you just revisited was f of 1, or f of t equals this. Quadratic equations are always in this form. Notice that ax squared appears in the equation as discussed in our power model units. So power model units was when if you had x squared, you had a parabola like this. If you had negative x squared, you had a parabola that looks like this. So we are going to look at how this a, this b, and this c affect your graph. So this wants you to go to desmos.calculator or .com/calculator. So go ahead and pause your video, and you will, or you don't have to pause and you can follow along with me. That's fine too. Desmos.com/calculator, and you will get this. Okay, and then you just go ahead and follow the directions. So it says type in y equals ax to the power of 2. It says you will be asked to add a slider. Oh shoot, you cannot see my screen. Hang on one second. Oh yeah, you can. Just kidding. Okay, so you can click add slider. So I am not going to do this for you, but it says click on the A and the slider will appear. Drag the slider left and right to complete the following. So if you slide it to the left, it goes like this. If you slide it to the right, it goes like this. So you are just going to fill in the blank using vocabulary that's discussed. So go ahead and pause your video and fill out A and B, and actually fill out A, B, C. Actually fill out the rest of this page, and then get your teacher's initials before you move on to the next page.